Good morning. Just going to wait for a few more people to log on with us. And I'm going to send the video to the event page. Make sure when you joined, shoot us a quick message to let us know who's watching. Seeing some more people joining us, so just let us know when you join who's there so we know who we're talking to today. We hope people are ready to write with us. Oh, good morning, Ezra and Audra. It's great to see you guys every time we do this. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying it and keep coming back for more. And we're just waiting for a few more people. I'm seeing some more people hopping on, and just let me know when you're here so I know who we're talking to. I'm excited today. Maritza, our Drexel co-op from Fall Winter, designed this workshop before she left. So we're excited to do this one today. And we have new Drexel co-ops who started this week. So we're looking forward to seeing what amazing programs they produce while they're here. So say hello to Bella and Andrew who are joining us for the next spring-summer program, and wish them good luck since it's challenging, I think, to start a virtual internship. I've never done it necessarily, so on their end, so definitely wish them good luck. So as people are joining us, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about what materials we need today. Main material here today is a pencil, some kind of coloring materials. I personally prefer colored pencils because they don't soak through the paper. You could do markers or crayons as well. Again, I really like colored pencils. I think they're easier to get good detail without stuff soaking through. And then either a printout of the instructions and particularly the template for today, or if you don't have this, then you can also, if you're not able to print at home, you can also create your own template using that as a guide and create it on blank paper or lined paper. So I'm seeing some more people joining us. Hello, I'm so glad you're here. And I was just going over the materials. Again, we just need a pencil, something to color with, and either plain paper or the template that we printed out, which has kind of a newspaper type look for it, which may give you a clue about what our workshop's going to be about today. So today, let's get started. And today's workshop is a little bit about journalism, but we're still going to be creative with it. Now, Dr. Spels has been thinking about how, now that we're kind of stuck at home, how are we communicating? How are we getting our news? And he felt like, you know, the newspaper was still a really important piece of journalism, especially in these times. But he started to wonder, do other species communicate in the same way? So he did a little digging and he discovered one of the longest running pet newspapers, completely and totally run by animals. Now, he's a little concerned about the animals getting together and communicating like this. He wants to make sure they're not planning world domination, especially those cats, because we know how they are. So he would like you to infiltrate their newspaper and make sure that they're not doing anything nefarious, that make sure there aren't any evil plots developing because all the animals and pets are getting sick of us at home. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to really need to kind of come up with your cover identity. What kind of animal, what kind of pet are you? What's important to you? You're going to have to really think about, you're going to have to become the animal. Because you want to be authentic. You want your writing to sound like It's the actual animal, so that the animal editors don't know that you're really a human who's just trying to infiltrate their newspaper. So you're going to be really careful with how you write. You're going to have to use a voice. We talk about voice in writing, and you're going to need to use a voice that sounds like an animal actually wrote it. Now, that doesn't mean to write like meow, 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 although you could put a little bit of that in an article. But really think about what kinds of things would the animal that you're writing as care about. What kind of news would they want to know about? What kind of entertainment are they going to want reviews of? What kind of opinions might they have? And you're going to want to write as if you are that animal. You could totally be a pet unicorn. So that's one thing I was going to say. When we get further down, even if you don't have a pet, that's okay. One of my best ideas was actually today, again, I saw that cat that I mentioned during another workshop. I saw that cat walking through my backyard, and I thought to myself, he was sitting there looking through everyone's back windows. And in my mind, I was thinking, wait a minute, that cat knows I'm about to do this workshop, and he's checking out. He's the cat reporter for the neighborhood who's going around and collecting all the news. He's being an on-the-spot reporter. So it doesn't even have to be your pet. It can be an imaginary pet. It can be an animal that you know is in your neighborhood. It could be a made-up animal. That's totally fine. So the first step in this process is to choose what kind of animal reporter you will be writing as. Now, we have, on our template, you'll see we have room for about 5 different stories. That doesn't mean you have to write all 5 stories. It's just, I figured some of you guys might really have fun with this and want it to look like a real newspaper. So you might want room for more than one story. Now in that case, you could always write as more than one animal. So you might choose one for your first story, and you might decide to write as, the backyard cat. You might choose a second one to be like the fish that's in the room. Maybe you want another one to be like your neighbor's dog who's always communicating with the dog next door to him. I don't know. Or maybe you want one to be a Pegasus, a pet Pegasus of Perseus. You can do all of those things in the same newspaper. Just basically think about each article by itself. Think about what animal is writing that article and really kind of inhabit that animal. That means like really think about what it would be like to do them. Oh, hi, Takir. That's one of our people who's helped out with the summer camp in the past for several years. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. So think about, are you going to write about one of your pets? Are you going to write about someone else's pet? And think about it. It doesn't have to just be cats and dogs. People have hamsters, guinea pigs, snakes, frogs, turtles, birds, fish, lizards, or any other kind of pet. And again, you could think of one of your stuffies as being an imaginary pet. You could make up an imaginary pet that's one you wish you had. Totally fine. The thing about spells is there aren't a lot of rules. I think I've said that before. And really, if you want to make it even more imaginative, we are A-okay with that. So the first step is to decide your first article, what kind of pet are you going to write about? Now, then imagine yourself as that pet reporter. Think about what kind of events in the area would be important to you as a species. What would other kinds of pets like to read about? Would the pets care about the presidential race that humans care about? Probably not. They don't care who the president is. It doesn't really affect their daily lives, right? However, they might be really concerned when they see another dog in the neighborhood wearing the cone of shame. They might be like, "Oh no, what did that dog do wrong?" Or why are those owners doing that? So think about what kinds of news stories might really interest your cats or your pets. Doesn't have to be cats. For example, there have been a lot of kind of memes on the internet recently about how now that most of us are staying at home a lot, that all the cats are upset because they're used to having the house to themselves. And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of cats are kind of solitary creatures and like to be the master of their own domain. But then on the other hand, that the dogs are all celebrating. They're like, I've been living my whole life for this. That, dogs like to be companions. They like to have people around. Exactly. Ooh, I love that idea that maybe the pets think that they're pet humans. They think that they're the owners and that the humans are the pets. I love that idea. That's a really great way of finding that animal's voice. Great job. So think about what's important to them. What kinds of things are we doing? I know the cat in the backyard of my house. I believe he's probably super concerned because with the nice weather and with everyone staying at home, a lot of my neighbors have been sitting on their back patio areas so that they can get some fresh air. And that cat usually gets to go through and not have anybody around except for people through windows. And I have a feeling that he is pretty upset that suddenly his territory is being overrun by these strange humans that he usually doesn't have to deal with. So he might write a news story about that. So imagine what kinds of stories your pet might write about. And then maybe brainstorm a list of things that your pet might be really interested in. Again, like a cat might be interested in any new dogs moving in next door. A mouse family might be really interested to know when, want a news alert when cats or birds or whatever are moving in. A fish might want to read an article about the latest trends in aquarium decor. So think about what kinds of things do you think that type of animal, that type of pet might be interested in. Now, just like in regular newspapers, the Daily Pennsylvania publishes a variety of articles from stories that are very factual, meaning we don't have opinions, it's just saying everything that's completely true, that no one can really argue with, it's just facts, all the way to pieces that share more of the writer's opinion. Sometimes we call these editorial pieces or opinion pieces. These are pieces where the writer is taking a stand. They're saying something that, that they are trying to convince you to feel the same way that they do. A pup or a puppy? Yes, a pet pet puppy would be perfect. So there's three basic kinds of news stories that the Pet-sylvanian publishes. One, again, are those news stories that focus on recent events, major events, politics, crime. Maybe you could think of some funny crimes that pets would think that someone or things have committed. Maybe putting a dog in a cone of shame is a crime in their mind, and they're going to try, talk about trying to find the human that did that. I don't know. Have there been any arguments this week? Is there a new park that people have done? Did a dog walk around the neighborhood and sniff a stranger? Hi, Holly. Are dogs going to be reporting on their squirrel patrol? Maybe they feel like the squirrels have been committing crimes and they're going to bark up the tree at them. So think about what kinds of stories would be interesting to those types of pets. What kinds of stories would they report on? An entertainment story is going to focus on kind of covering the new movies, possibly writing reviews of them. Something like for an entertainment, I was thinking of like maybe there's a fish in an aquarium, and maybe to the fish, the people walking around in the house are TV programming because they're out like in a box on the side of the aquarium for that fish. So maybe a fish might write a review of all of this new programming that's coming on because we're all walking around the house more. So think about like each different animal and what kinds of stories might they tell about entertainment. Maybe it's a cat that's enjoying watching a new documentary about birds. Maybe it's a dog that's having to try a new food because its owner is, or maybe they're getting more scraps off the ground and they're going to write a restaurant review of these scraps because the owner is now cooking more at home. So think about what kinds of fun things you could write about from that animal's perspective. The third kind of story are opinion stories. And I mentioned this before. Opinion stories give your readers your opinion on something, and they often try to get readers to agree with your viewpoint. An example I thought of was something like, kind of that meme we've been seeing of dogs and cats and their opinions about humans being at home more. Maybe you could write like an article where it's an opinion article and both dogs, like a dog and a cat, are basically each giving their perspective on whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. And I would imagine that a lot of cats might think it's a bad thing, although some might be super excited and snuggly. Most dogs are probably think it's a great thing, but maybe it's starting to wear off. Maybe they're starting to get a little stir crazy and kind of annoyed that they're not getting their full day's nap like they usually do when you're away. So think about like what kinds of opinions would they have. Ooh, Ezra, I like that idea. I wish I had a pet whale. That seems kind of, although you'd need a really big house for a pet whale, I have to say. and it'd probably be a very wet house. But I'd love to see how you write stories about that. That would be really fun. I love the creativity I'm seeing on here today, with a lot of different thoughts about what types of animals you can write about. So once you've figured out your first article, what kind of article it's going to be, is it going to be news where it's just facts? Is it going to be opinion where it's, really focusing and you can say things like like the writer can actually talk about themselves in the first person, saying like, I feel this way, I believe this. Whereas a news story is really written in the third person, meaning you're just reporting the facts. So rather than saying like, I saw this family coming in, you just be like, a new family arrived on Lombard Street today and they blah, blah, blah. Like you would tell it as if you were not in the story. Now, and the entertainment stories can be a little bit in between. They're really kind of like news reporting with maybe sometimes a little bit of a review worked in, a little bit of opinion. But you still want to have a lot of facts with those. So once you decide which type of story you're going to write for your first story, then think like a pet reporter and write in their voice. Now, sometimes when I'm getting ready to write as an animal, it helps me to kind of do a little play acting, do a little role playing as that animal. And we actually do that sometimes in a workshop we call animal tales when we're writing diaries of animals. So if it helps you, think about the animal you're going to be and maybe start acting like that animal for a few minutes. Think about like, how would that animal eat? How would that animal communicate with other animals? How would that animal play with its friends? How would that animal learn the things it needs to do, like school? Does it go to school? Does it learn some other way? How does it get exercise? Where does it live? And maybe try acting that out. Sometimes if you're like, you're sitting there being a cat, it might help you really get in that mindset. So maybe you're walking around being a cat, cleaning yourself a little bit. And you act it out and suddenly it's a little easier to kind of write as if you are that animal. So feel free to post videos of you acting like the animals you've chosen, because I think that would be fun. I just acted like a cat, so feel free to have fun with that. So remember, if you're writing it as the news story, you're not going to want to use like I, that type of thing. He, you're going to use, you're going to want to refer to everything in the third person. If you're writing something that's more of an entertainment story or an opinion story, it's okay to use I. But think about like how to, what kind of lingo would those animals use? I know a lot of times with dogs, people these days are imagining how their dogs will talk, and they use the doggo language, like they call puppies puppers. They refer to humans as humans, things like that. So they use like slightly different kind of slang language for dogs, imagining how dogs would talk. So think about, are there things that you think that, like phrases that you think the animal you've chosen might use that humans wouldn't use that way? Are there, different ways that they would describe things? For example, a lot of animals, including dogs, have much stronger senses of smell and hearing than they do eyesight. So normally when we think about, writing a story, humans, we rely so heavily on our eyesight, generally speaking, that a lot of times we forget to put in things about how the environment smells, or what we're hearing, or what it tastes like, or what it feels like. So think about maybe in a news story for animals, they might rely more on sounds and smells. They might rely more on those senses that are very strong for them and not as much about what things look like. So maybe think about working that into your article to make it seem more authentic and make sure that those animal editors can't tell that you're actually a human trying to infiltrate their numbers. Then what you're going to do is you're going to write your story on the newspaper template we provided. Now, if you feel more comfortable starting on another sheet of paper and then moving on to the template, that's fine, especially if you're creating your own template. As I mentioned, if you're not able to print from home, we did print something that looks like a cool little newspaper format. We have some spaces here for pictures you can draw to go with your news story. We have place for a headline. Now, one thing about creating a headline is you want it to be nice and short because you see it's only one line, right? And it's got to catch people's attention. A lot of times you want to play with words. You might want to use something that rhymes, or you might want to use like kind of a nickname for something to shorten it a little bit. You want to make it sound catchy. You want to make it grab someone's attention, kind of like a book title. But a lot of times it may have like a little bit of humor. It might have just like something that really grabs your attention. Maybe it's just really trying to think of a good word for that. Just something that's exciting, that makes you want to read that article. Under that we have a byline. It literally says BY. That's where you put the name of your reporter, not you, but your cover identity. What reporter are you trying to be? So you got to give your reporter a name, right? And here you also could, if it's not obvious by your name, you could put comma cat reporter or whale reporter or something, or just whale, so that we know what kind of animal it is. And so there's room for an article here. There's another article here. Now, if your article is too long to fit here, you can just ignore the byline and headline up here and continue your article here if you like and put another picture. That's totally fine. I know I'm getting a lot of glare off the sun today, but I guess that's a good problem to have, right? So you can adapt this format as much as you want, but it's really kind of made to look a little bit like a newspaper. Then if you're feeling really inspired, we also have a back page where we put room for a few more stories. I thought that some of you guys might just be really into it and want to write about more than one animal. Some of you guys may want to just do one or two. I like that. That's a great headline. And I like the way you're using like kind of some unicorn specific words, it looks like that unicorns want to start words with the letter U. That's really fun. I immediately get that. So good job. So once you write your story, then you can continue writing more. You can even make yourself a whole newspaper if you want with some more paper. You can really have fun with it, and then maybe let your family, or you can even like take pictures or scan it and send it to friends so that they can see what their animals are thinking. Does anyone have any questions? I'm super excited because you guys already have so many great ideas about what to write about, and I hope that you will share them with us. I really, really love seeing what you guys produce and these ideas. Like I said, I'm so excited just by these ideas, which are 10 times better than the ideas I came up with of just the backyard cat. So I just really am excited to see if you guys have fun with this and what you do with it. We will be back on Thursday at 11 a.m. for another writing workshop. And then we also are accepting donations if you like what you're seeing and you want to support us during this time. You know, we are having some additional costs by having to do things virtually. We're having to do a lot of planning virtually and pay some things. But we also, honestly, if you can't afford to pay, give a donation, that's totally fine too, because really what we want are the ideas. We want to know that people are actually enjoying what we're doing, and that the kids are having fun and being creative. So if you can pay us that way with your ideas, we'll take it. That's really what keeps us going. So let me know if you have any questions. We will also, again, as always, be checking the comments throughout the week and posting a post where you can post inside the comments, or feel free to message us. I'm still waiting to see if anybody's going to send me any Mad Lib stories for me to fill out, because I think that was from last week. And if you send me a list of the different parts of speech that I need to provide, we will totally do that and send you guys back some funny words. But also for this one, I would love to see what these animals are thinking, especially some of these interesting animals that I didn't think of, like the whale, the puppy, and the unicorn. So definitely share those with us if you can. Any questions? I'm also not sure. I know last time we had Facebook was having a little bit of issue and it wasn't showing me all of the comments live. So if you're posting a comment and I'm not seeing it, I'm sorry. I will definitely get to those in the comments section. And hopefully this time it will end the video right at the end. Last time it kind of procrastinated for 6 hours, and then I was finally able to post it. I'm hoping people will be able to see it. So good luck. Dr. Spells is counting on you to infiltrate these pets and their newspaper so we can make sure they're not plotting world domination. How many of you guys think that they're plotting world domination? Let me see some thumbs up if you think they're plotting world domination. And if you think that they're innocent pets and they're just doing their own business, put hearts. I saw at least one thumbs up from someone who thinks they're plotting world domination. I see another one. Are there any hearts? Or does everyone think they're plotting world domination? Oh, I see a heart. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, okay. So there's a bunch of people now who feel like they're actually pretty innocent. Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, how their newspaper actually shows. So have fun writing your news stories, and good luck not getting caught by the animals. Bye. Thank you so much.